Hello friends, welcome to People Tree Show. We're really thankful for the warm response that you have showered us with in our previous episode. So today we bring to you another episode on health and fitness. Today we have with us Donovan Fernandez. He's a proprietor and trailblazer in setting up amongst the first gym across South Goa. And his experience and expertise in this particular field is going to enlighten us more, given that today we have a lot of lifestyle changes happening across the world. So how is it that we can incorporate fitness into our daily lifestyle? And hope you enjoy today's episode. You find it enlightening and informative. Please do share this episode with your family and friends. Don't forget to give a like and do comment, because your comments can help us get better. Thank you. Hi Donovan, welcome to the People Tree Show. I'm really looking forward to have this conversation with you, since I personally have been looking out for someone to guide me through my own fitness journey.
Right.
We all know you as someone who's always been into fitness and well heard of, a proprietor of one of South Goa's gyms and trailblazers in this field. But I would like to know more about your journey, how you got into fitness.
So fitness has always been a part of my lifestyle. It's nothing that I've actually adapted to. It's been there in the house, in the family, and in growing up in Bombay, in Parel, it's kind of a vibe that just engulfs you. All the building boys and everybody was always into fitness and health and looking after ourselves. So it just as we grew up as kids, we just grew up and got into the same part of fitness and health and stuff like that.
So it was always the environment.
It was always the environment.
Okay. As youngsters, we grew up watching a lot of Dragon Ball Z, Superman, Spider-Man, all those action heroes, and somewhere at the back of our mind, we always look up to the kind of physique that they had and the impact they had since our childhood. We always try to mimic them, aim like them, have a body like them.
True.
So did you have any idol growing up back in those days?
Strangely, as a kid, there was no kind of Dragon Ball Z and stuff in that time. But then there was something known as He-Man at that time, and he was really a muscular guy. But it was more of the magazines and stuff that eventually drew us towards looking at it was more of a 2D image than a 3D image in those days, because there was no you don't have the media and all that stuff. So fitness was always an image that we created in our own heads and try to get the best out of it.
Yeah. That's great. Now we have everything right here at the click of our button.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you mentioned you were born and brought up in Bombay, and being a big city, it does have an impact on a person's life.
Yes.
How did Bombay shape your perspective?
See, Bombay is a very fast-paced life. You've got to be on the move. You've got to be alert. You can't afford to, skip a step, or you could be left behind. So you always, it definitely made an impact on me in ways where, you got to be alert. You can't afford to, sit down and relax yourself. Or as a result, it also got me more into channeled towards certain things in life, like whatever it was. We had ambitions and we made plans and we worked towards targets, and it always was it's challenging being in Bombay, but at the end of it made us a more strong in head. One could be that, could be one of that. It made us really determined that this is the track, this is the way we need to move and pursue goals and stuff like that.
Right. I still remember the first time I met you. You told me about the incident where you earned your first salary.
Yeah.
I would like you to narrate that once again.
Well, I must have been about 9 or 10, something like that, or probably 8, and I needed, money was not a thing, but it was always something that, you know, you need to have some cash in your pocket for something to buy and stuff like that.
Pocket money.
For pocket money, exactly. And I thought the best way, I mean, was to get a job of some kind. And under our building, we had we had a laundry, and a little further down there was a petrol pump. Every day when I would get off my school bus, I would always see these cabs parked down there, and they would be, you know, either washing them out and stuff like that. So I went down and found out if there was any kind of a hand needed down there, and I got a job as a guy to clean up these nuts and bolts, and paid me a small amount, but it was an amount. And one fine day I figured out that there was a laundry that needed someone to put their tags on, so I got a job down there too. And when I started merging these two jobs, I realized that I went down to the laundry after I went down to the petrol pump, and I started messing up the garments down there with my soiled fingers, and the owner of the shop was wondering what happened to all his clean, pressed out clothes. And then the next day I realized, you know, this is not the right way of going about. So I switched jobs. I started going down to the laundry first, and then going down to the petrol pump after that. And then get going that way.
How young were you back then?
As I said, you always stay, you know, alert in Bombay. It must have been nothing more than, I think, nothing more than 9 or 10. Yeah.
That's pretty great. And the reason I asked you to tell this incident is because when I heard it for the first time, it actually struck me that, you know, you're never too young, too old to start something, right?
Yes.
You can start from anywhere.
Yes, of course.
You don't need a lot of backup.
No.
If you have the willingness to
earn, yeah,
to find a survival.
True.
You tend to find your own ways.
And when you start off at an early age, you tend to, you know, channelize yourself in the right direction. Of course, you definitely hit all ends when you start off early, because you never know, you know, if you're doing the right thing or the wrong thing. It's only after you make a mistake that you actually, you know, start off doing it all right again, like the laundry and the petrol pump.
Right. Tell us more about you winning your bodybuilding title back in Bombay, and how was your experience with the event that was organized back in those days?
The event the sport has evolved a lot from the time I was in it. Okay, it's been it's grown a lot in prize money and in all ways. Is because when I was young, we did it out of fun. We enjoyed doing it. We had a great time doing it right through, and it was a lot of friends who were into the same sport. So we worked out whenever we had to. But when the events were up, it was more of a celebration for us. It wasn't, we weren't actually very pressurized, unlike these times when these athletes are actually very pressurized when they, come up on stage.
Correct.
And we enjoyed ourselves. But the best part about the entire experience of getting up on stage was being with friends and having a good time, and it's good compadre. We just enjoyed ourselves, and it was very healthy sport at that time. We never kind of bounced into any kind of steroid use and stuff like that. I shouldn't be saying it, but unlike now, there's the pressure is a lot more, and the need and the demand is a lot more. So there are athletes who are actually pushing themselves beyond their need.
Their physical limits.
Yes.
Right. It's being flooded now.
Yeah.
The competition has increased. It's
a lot. It has.
Right. So you moved from Bombay to Goa. Now, when you came down here, there was nothing.
True.
Right. I don't think there were a lot of gyms back down here.
Absolutely.
So tell us more about how you started with your gymming here in Goa to continue that same lifestyle which you have grown up in, and tell us about that 5 rupees story.
Yes. So, well, we started off I started my gym in Goa only when I came down to Goa, it was more of trying to find a place to work out. And it was really hard to find some place to actually, train myself. And so I actually built the equipment for the gym myself, and it was all out of wood. We had this a flour mill that was running by my granddad, and it was shut for a long time. And it had all these barricades around there. So I made use of all the wood that was there and made equipment right from squat racks to benches, calf machines, rowing machines. I mean, you name it, most of the machines were done out of wood. Everything was done out of wood, and it was designed in such a way that it would actually accommodate a real small place. So I had it all fixed into the walls. And I basically started this gym for myself, and I was training myself over there. And it so happened that I went out. I was in the society down in, and some of these boys looked at me and they wanted to know where I was exercising. And I said, I'm looking up for a place, but I have a small place of my own. And so they wanted to see the place. And when they came over, they were quite intrigued by the entire setup, and they wanted to know if they could train. I said, I didn't have a problem. They said, you'd have to charge us something. How much would you charge us? I said, I was new to the place, so I really didn't know how much, I could ask for. So I asked one of these guys, what do you think is an appropriate amount for me to charge you? And well, I was shocked when he told me. He says, I think 5 rupees would be good. And I was like, I said, 5 rupees for a month? I said, wow, okay. I said, okay, fine. I was fine. I don't know much about it. I said, okay, let's give it a go and see what happens. And in that period of time, when he came in with a couple of friends, and the word of mouth started growing, and crowd started pouring in at that time too. Yeah, and there was one incident that I always remember, is that it was the end of the month, and they had to pay up their fees, their 5 rupees. And one guy comes to me and he gives me 2 rupees, and he says, I'll give you the rest amount in another few days. And I said, sorry? I said, okay. And then, well, that's how it started. But as time has gone by from then, with that, I should say, in spite of it being it was in my bedroom. We've had anywhere from, I would say, 100 to 200 people come into that place.
100 to 200?
Yes, people come into that place. And I found that place really, they would sit down in the veranda in the hall. We would start off in the morning at 5 o'clock in the morning in that time, and finish off. We never had a break at that time. We would run right till about, I think it was about 2 o'clock in the day, and then I would take a break for my own meal. And at that time there would be guys coming in too. And I used to say, stop. And we would take a break, just a small half an hour break, and then we would start off back again right till 10 o'clock in the night. And it was packed. We had guys coming from all over the place. I can't imagine the amount of people that would walk inside there, because at the end of the day there would be, the place where I'm in has a lot of sand, because at the end of the day that whole hall would be full of mud. We had to sweep that place out. It was packed. But it grew from there. I moved it from my bedroom to the mill that was there, and then it was a lot bigger, accommodating at least a good amount of 20 to 30 people at a time. And we had batches. I cut the number of hours that we worked, and it was a long day still, because we would start off in the morning at 5 and end up at 9:30. With a break in between though. We should stop at I think about 3 o'clock is when we start off again, finish off at 10 o'clock. And the day will go on.
Okay, now that we've been talking so much about your gymming experience and how you've been running your own gym and how you started with this journey, I would like to know more about your perspective on gymming. How do you see gymming?
When you look at someone, when you ask me a question, how do you think of gymming? It should be a part of your day. It should be a part of your lifestyle. Okay, you need to feel it shouldn't be a burden on you. It shouldn't be that you need to, get there is only because I need to, get into shape and stuff. You need to enjoy it. One of the most essential things is you need to enjoy it, and it shouldn't be a task. Because moment something is a task and you have to, push yourself to doing it, you will not see the desired changes in your body. You will not see the desired results. At the same time, it'll be you will be pushing yourself to doing things that you don't want to do. So it should be a part of your lifestyle. You should enjoy it, and it should make you feel happy. That's how, as I would see, gymming should be.
Correct. Now, many people who aren't very informed, they think of protein powder and anabolic steroids to be synonymous. They use it interchangeably, and they question the use of both these substances. Now, I would like you to elaborate and explain the difference between the two, and when and how should they be consumed, if they should be consumed.
I can talk only about supplements. I couldn't talk about steroids, just because, in any case, it's an illegal substance, and I wouldn't like talking about it. Though I will talk about it in terms of how bad it is for you.
Right.
Well, when it comes to supplementation, many people mistake them for a steroid, which isn't a fact. A health food supplement, as it says, it's a health food supplement. It has an expiration date. It is food in a compound form. So the basic idea of a health food supplement is to provide you the extra food calories that you would have a hard time sourcing from food to meet your calorie day for your day. So in many cases, people usually depend on these things, which is again not the right way to go about it, just because it's a substitute to the food that you are already been eating. So you need to have a proper, well-balanced diet, nutritional plan, and along with that, in sync with it, you need to have a health food supplement, whatever, a whey protein or soya protein, whatever it is. You could have it as in a shake form. You could even have it in your food, in pudding form or stuff like that. When it comes to steroid, it's a whole different ball game. It's because a steroid is a banned substance. Of course, many people use it as an athlete use it only to enhance their performance, and they're forced to is because they are professionally competing.
Right.
But if you're just another young lad who just wants to get into shape and stuff, I wouldn't ever advise you to go on that route.
Right.
Just because it always has its effects at one time.
Right.
And it's no point investing your money and your life onto something that's going to give you that short burst of performance and get you somewhere and eventually mess up your life. So a steroid is a no-go for me, and I wouldn't advise that. A health food supplement, yes, consuming it in the right way, in the right proportion, not on a regular basis, doesn't necessarily need to be done every day. You could probably do it on cycles. You could do it in different ways. There are many ways of doing it.
Right. Since you mentioned about the health hazards that are brought about by steroids, if you could elaborate a bit more on the kinds of hazards
on
steroids that they bring about.
So steroid one. It's a chemical. It was designed basically in the medical industry to help with injured patients and people who recover, and that too for a short span of time. A steroid could mess you up completely. It could destroy your liver. It could destroy your kidneys. It could, the smallest things that it starts off with is basically acne. You start seeing, pimples and stuff on your face. Ladies do it too. I've been seeing it in the industry, and their voice changes. They have facial hair. It also alters your way of thinking. You become a little more aggressive. It's something that is basically not designed on the health end of it. I should put it down in a simple way. It is designed to get you from A to B in a fast way, but I don't think it's worth the risk.
Right. People are just misusing.
It is absolutely misused. It's absolutely misused.
Yeah. Now that since you mentioned about proteins, you mentioned about whey proteins, soy proteins. Even we come across, we're told, we should consume protein powders to meet our daily protein to come up with the deficit. So, would you elaborate more on the types of proteins powder that are there, like the soy protein, the whey protein?
Yes.
What others?
See, the most common one of them all is whey protein. Okay, and whey protein is sourced out of milk. Okay, you have three types of whey. You have a blend, you have a concentrate, and an isolate. Isolate being the most expensive, is the purest form, and it's most easiest absorbed by the body. At the same time, it doesn't bloat you up. While in a concentrate, it is a little more hard for the system to break down. As a result, there are many tendencies for people to have a little bloating in their stomach. Now, again, whey protein is ideally consumed with the meal rather than just having it on its own, because at the end of it, it is food on its digested form. So when it gets down through your system, many times you've got more acid in your system to break it down than the food itself. As a result, you get bloated. So many times people, use the protein powders in the wrong time and have a bloated stomach. Apart from whey protein and soya, apart from whey, you have soya protein, and soya protein is derived from soybean. The protein source in soybean is a lot lesser than the whey, but it is designed for people. It's a little more pocket friendly, of course, and at the same time, it's easier for certain people to consume it who are lactose intolerant. And again, you can't basically depend on a protein powder to get you going without a proper nutritional plan. You need to eat a proper nutritional plan. Along with it, you need to substitute it with a protein powder.
So supplements should be kept at their place. They are supplements.
Yes.
They are not meant to replace our meals.
Well, you couldn't say they're not replacing a meal. They could replace a meal, but they cannot be consumed on its own. You can't have it just as You can't depend on a supplement. As it says, a supplement. It is a supplement to a meal, but you can't depend on it completely.
Right. Now, how and when should a person consume protein powders or protein? How long should it be continued for, if it should be continued for? And should we give it a break?
Yes. Okay, good question. Now, a protein powder should be consumed in a way where you balance your daily requirements, considering the fact that, say for example, you want to gain weight. Okay, and you're on a 2,000 first of all, you need to know how many calories you're consuming in a day. So you're on a 2,000 kilocalorie diet, and to meet the deficit in calories, you add a protein powder. So you're consuming a well-balanced meal in a day, and you add your protein powder probably as a pre-workout. Now you consume it at that particular hour because it's easily digested. So you have it, as a pre-workout meal or an intra-workout meal, in where you can actually have it, while you're training to power you through your day. And it'll help you build your recovery cycle after you finished your routine. Again, a protein powder shouldn't be consumed excessively long for a prolonged period of time, because at one point in time your body starts getting accustomed to it. It's the same as in food. You can't keep eating the same thing every day.
Right.
So the moment you start giving it a break, say you consume it for a good 2 months or so, or 3 months or so, you give it a break for about 2 weeks and then start over again, your body will absorb it better. You'll see more efficiency from the supplement rather than having it consumed on a prolonged period of time. And at the same time, it gives your body a break too. Yeah.
Then apart from protein powder, there's also mention of creatine.
Creatine.
Now, what is this, and when should it be consumed?
So creatine, your body produces creatine. Okay. Now, when we talk about creatine, it is the fastest absorbed by the body for energy. Okay. Now, what happens is, if you're training for putting on muscle weight and you want to get down to the gym, you do something known as a loading phase with creatine. You consume 5 grams of creatine in the day, for a week, okay, and after that you basically need to do it on a regular basis in the first week, is because it needs to load into your system. Once it's into your system, then you could probably play around with it. You don't need to do it every second day, okay. Even on the days when you're training, even on the days when you're not training, you don't need to do it. You could probably give it a break and carry on. There are a lot of ways of doing it, and there are a lot of people who love doing it every day because they constantly see results. But it's nicer taken with a break, is because the body absorbs it a lot better when you give it breaks. And creatine is one of the oldest supplements in the running. It's a good source of energy. It's ideally done as a pre-workout, and it could be done as a post-workout to help your recovery cycle. And you need to do a lot of water when you're consuming it.
Now that you mentioned about pre-workouts, we hear a lot of these terms, pre-workouts, post-workouts. So would you please elaborate more on what are these pre-workouts, post-workouts? Why should we consume them?
Are you talking about pre-workout supplements or pre-workout meals?
So both. We would like to discuss both of them.
Okay. So now when you're looking at a pre-workout a supplement, a pre-workout supplement is designed basically to alert you. It's designed to get you in a mental state as well as in the physical state. So it basically energizes you for a routine.
Right.
Now, it's a very good question, is because the pre-workout supplements are highly caffeinated. Okay. As a result, they get you into the zone. Many times what happens is people consume these pre-workout supplements and they consume a lot of coffee along with it. Now, caffeine being something that accelerates your heart rate causes a lot of minus points and disadvantages, because many times consuming a pre-workout supplement more than the required dosage accelerates your heart rate and gets you charged. Of course, it gets you charged, it gets you boosting, gets your blood pumping.
Yeah.
But it also could end up in some physical conditions. Right. It could be pretty threatful, because many times with all that adrenaline rush in you, you could have, I'm not saying, but it's a fact, you could get a stroke. Right. Okay. So these supplements are designed to be consumed not necessarily on a regular basis.
I see.
Okay. It would be ideal on days when you feel that you're low on energy, or you're working out a body part that probably you have a hard time getting to.
Right.
Okay. So you would rather have a pre-workout consumed at that time. And one very essential thing is never try consuming a pre-workout on an empty stomach, because you could mess your system up. So you would always have a pre-workout meal along with it. Now, a pre-workout meal could be anything from, depending on the time you're working out. It could be, small portion of grilled chicken or some scrambled eggs.
Right.
Yeah. And along with that, and it should be spaced out. You shouldn't consume it, immediately and head to the gym. You need to have at least a good half an hour to an hour away from your actual training, and then head down to the gym. When you look at post-workout, your body needs to recover. So a post-workout, you should always have something that has good protein source in it. Okay, so that your body actually recovers from all the loss of energy that you have pushed yourself through, and you got a 45-minute window break in where you should actually consume a post-workout meal, and it's good to actually take a little longer than just go rushing down and pushing it down, because your body has a hard time breaking food down, especially when you're already stressed out. So
right.
You need to take a little break and then probably rest and recover, and then start off with your post-workout meal.
So there's like a 45 minutes window.
You have that 45. That's when your body's best absorbing all the needed nutrition that it requires when it's lost.
Right. So it should be that 45 minutes post-workout.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. the post-workout window is a 45-minute window. I put it down as a 45-minute window is because your body's best absorption rate is at that time. I mean, extending it further later on, then your body is already trying to recover itself within its muscle, within its use of own muscle tissue, and you're not actually going to see, the needed benefits from a post-workout meal.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned about rest, there is always this R&R factor that is talked about, rest and recovery.
True.
Could you elaborate more on?
Okay. Now, when you consider the fact that the rest and recovery factor, you look at your day one, considering the fact of the hours in the day that you actually use as an expenditure of energy, and considering the lifestyle that you're living in.
Correct.
Your body needs its time for recovery. Now, if when you're adding a routine or a workout in this day, you got to consider the fact that the hours you've expended and the hours that you've got to go down to the gym and actually train yourself further. Now, it's not necessary that many people have this thing that they need to get to the gym every day. Now, that's one of the biggest things that myth. Okay, we can put it down as a myth that people need to be at the gym. Well, your body needs a break more than anything else after a routine, and then that's the time when your body actually is recovering and developing. So pushing yourself down to the gym even after you've had a hard day doesn't make any sense.
Right.
You should actually plan a routine in where your body is recovered completely from one routine, probably after a break, and then get down to the gym. I usually recommend a 4-day routine in where an individual actually works out 4 days in a week, rather than pushing himself every day down to the gym. So you work out 4 days in a week, split it through the week, through your 6 days, and have a recovery cycle, blended in through the week, so that your body actually recovers and you actually see benefits from it.
Yeah, so we don't exert ourselves.
And you don't actually exert yourself and you stress yourself. Your workout should be enjoying at the end of it. You should enjoy your routine. You shouldn't be tasked getting down to the gym with sore muscles from your previous workout. It doesn't really make any sense.
Right.
Well, you're supposed to get sore, but your body needs to recover too.
Right. Now, since you mentioned about lifestyle, something that we've noticed is nowadays people have evolved from prehistoric times where we were mostly out hunting, moving a lot, and our human body has a lot of joints, which actually gives a lot of flow for movement, and our body is designed to move around. But over the time, people went out hunting, then they went out on wars, but now times have changed. We are having a sedentary lifestyle. We just sit 9 to 5 on an office desk, working on our computers, laptops. Right. So how do you recommend someone to incorporate workout in their schedule?
Good. Well, let's start by saying you need to figure out a time that suits you, rather than making it a task to get to the gym after a long day's work. One would be, say for example, if you've got a lengthy day that starts off, I don't know, probably somewhere around about 9 o'clock and finishes off somewhere around about probably 9 o'clock in the night, and then getting down to the gym at 9 o'clock and finishing off at 10 o'clock, I wouldn't recommend something like that. It's because you're only extending your day. You would rather shrink your day than extend it. So it would be advisable for you to actually get down to bed early from a long day and start off a little early. Yeah.
Right.
So you start your day with a routine, probably 4 days in a week again, and all you need to do is a 45-minute routine in the gym. Okay. Yeah. Now again, it all depends on the condition you are in. Once you've got your routines sorted, you got your day sorted after that, rather than make it a routine to get down to the gym after a whole day's routine.
Yeah.
And save your energy rather than add on something more to an already burdened day.
Yeah. So we should incorporate the timing at the start.
Preferably for a
Yeah.
person who's got a long day.
Yeah.
It would be nicer for the person to have a routine pushed into the beginning. Like in cases where a person actually has a short day and an early start, he could probably have it just done the other way around.
Right.
He could probably incorporate it at the end of his day. But then again, it all depends on how an individual is feeling at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The point over here is try making your day as shortened out as possible, getting the maximum out of it.
As they say, early to bed, early to rise
makes a man healthy, wealthy. Well, very true, very true.
That's a good one. So, coming more, as some of my friends had this question because they travel to college from like really far away. They get up early in the morning at 7. They leave at 7, in fact, and then by the time they reach home, it's already 7:38, and that's when they try to find time to go to gym, hit the gym 8 to 10. What would you recommend? Do you recommend going out so late at night?
As I just said, it would be a good idea for the person, for these friends of yours, to actually start their day early. Finish off their day early as they can, since they've already got a lengthy day, and get down to the gym somewhere around about 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, and finish off their routine somewhere by around about 7, and get there. At the same time, it gives you ample amount of time to get your whole balanced your day together.
Yeah. Early start to the
An early start is always advisable. Most of the time, it works best for people.
Yeah. So I was going through YouTube about fitness, and then I came across a video that says get a 6-pack abs in 30 days time. How would you suggest? What do you suggest? How can I get 6-pack abs? How long does it take?
30 days time.
I don't know, 30 days, 60 days.
Well, the funniest part about getting into a 6-pack ab, as you put it down to, it all depends on in the state that you are in. Now, if you're a 130 kilo guy with a 30-inch or a 40-inch waist, you can't possibly get 6-packs in 30 days. You need to lose all that body fat prior to actually getting into shape. Muscle is everybody has a 6-pack under their lean body fat. If once you start shredding yourself up, once you start shredding body fat, you automatically see visible changes in your muscle or your abdominal cavity. So when you consider the fact that you're going to see changes in 30 days, well, you can see changes. It all depends on the person who's actually going down to the gym at that point of time. And the person, if you're lean, you can see 6-packs in about, I would say, and it's a fact, you could see a 6-pack ab if you're a lean person in about 30 days time. But if you're a person who's got a whole lot of body fat, you need to first shred yourself down.
Weight, that is that. I had posted some questions for my friends to ask if they have any questions. So one of the question was, should we drink water during workouts, and if so, how much? Because I think some instructors do not recommend to drink water. Some of them do recommend. So what is your take on this?
Very essential. For that matter, when we started off back in the day in the 92s, we were the only gym that asked people to hydrate. Now, water being a very essential source for recovery, muscle hydration, and thermogenics. So what happens is, when you exercise, your body starts you start heating yourself up, okay? And once you heat yourself up, you perspire, you sweat. Now, in order to compensate the loss of sweat, you need to hydrate yourself. Now, the amount of water, an ideal routine of 45 minutes, and it all depends on the condition you're working out in. If it's in an air-conditioned environment, or if it's in the winter, depending on the person too. An ideal amount of water is 1 liter. You should consume in a 45-minute routine, okay? In graduation, you don't gulp your water.
Right.
and not only will it help you hydrate, it'll also help you recover and help you from having any kind of muscle soreness as well as contractions. Many times you get these cramps. People who go down to the gym and they suddenly start cramping up.
Even athletes at times.
Even athletes. And that's the primary reason behind that is dehydration.
Right.
So ideally, you definitely need to drink water
Yeah.
while you work out.
The lactic acid gets formed
There's
up.
a lot of lactic buildup within the muscle, and that's the reason why your body starts cramping down.
Right. Now, a lot of people say that while training abs, one should avoid water or having a filled up stomach, especially when training abs.
True.
So, why is that so?
See, very clear, very simple. It's water. The first thing it hits is into your stomach. Now, ideally, you shouldn't consume water while you are doing your crunch because you could, throw up.
Right.
So, definitely don't advise you drinking water, while you're doing your crunches. Then again, it all depends where you're placing your routine. It's a routine eventually. Now, there are some people who would prefer training their abdominals in the beginning of the workout, and then there are some who prefer working it out at the end. It all depends on how your routine is designed and your requirement and your need. So we can't actually come down to the point of saying, you need to train as you get down to the gym, you need to train your abs, or you need to train your abs at the end.
Right.
It all would depend on how that routine is balanced.
Right. I think gymming for now has become more of a place where people go to just build abs, and their only focus is on having six-pack abs because they see they're influenced by the Bollywood and Hollywood physique, and it's always focused on their abdominal muscles.
Yes.
But somewhere I think they do get lost that it's about overall development rather than just abs.
True.
What would you like to tell them?
When you put in the fact that people go down to the gym only for abs, you got to understand that just exercising your abdominals, you wouldn't actually see it happen because there are a lot of ways of actually training your midsection, and you train your midsection a lot when you do a squat. Is because there's a lot of weight load on your shoulders and you're squatting. It's a crunch on its own if you actually picture it.
Right.
Yeah. At the same time, you develop abs. You stress your abs when you're pushing up equipment like a military press. Once you're pressing over your head, you're focusing on your abs because you got to keep your midsection firm.
Right.
As a result, you're working on abs. At the same time, it's not only developing the abs, but it also creates a mind and muscle connection of how you should contract your abdominal when you're doing these movements, rather than constantly crunching and trying to develop the ab, because the abdominal muscle is actually a very stubborn muscle.
Right.
It's a very stubborn muscle. As a result, constantly crunching, you would eventually end up injuring your back more than actually see muscle development.
Now, social media has become such a part of our life that we see a lot on social media, various workouts that are being shown on social media as to do these crunches for 30 times a day or so and so. What do you recommend about these various kinds of short videos and posts that are coming up and people referring to social media for guidance regarding physical workout?
It's a good thing. It's a good question. The thing is, it's not wrong to refer to social media for advice, as long as you crisscross it and find out, if it's going to work the best way for you. It's not going to injure you, whatever it is for that matter. May it be a diet routine or a workout routine for that matter. It needs to be, you got to understand that one fits all is not the way of going about. Everybody is designed in a different way to work out in a different way, and a routine has to be planned as to your body type and your requirements.
Right.
Because there are people who have injuries, and after an sustained injury, you couldn't possibly do something that A is doing and go on with it. So there's nothing wrong with using the net and learning from it. I mean, that's a good learning source, but you first need to also find out if that's the thing that's actually going to suit you.
Our body.
And try it out on a smaller scale. Prior to actually, progressing into it. There is no problem in doing that. It's an absolutely fine thing.
Right. Now that brings me to the next question. Is, as a beginner who's looking to join gym and to get in shape, what is the kind of workout that he or she needs to incorporate? What is the diet plan that he or she needs to look forward to and plan out?
For a beginner.
For a beginner.
Okay. Now again, coming back again, it also depends on what the person is beginning to do. If he needs to lose weight, if he needs to put on weight, if he's an athlete and never gone down to the gym, and if he's a runner or a sports person who's never gone. So you need to figure out exactly where that individual is going to start from. In any case, I would always advise all beginners to always get down to a gym which has some kind of a qualified instructor who can actually help them out with their requirements and their needs, so that they have a firm start to move on with. You're getting me? And along with that, they get a routine that is designed and tailor-made to their body type, so that they don't, mess themselves up. And a routine. I would always advise a beginner to always, considering the fact that there isn't, at times you might not have an instructor around. How do you go about it?
Correct.
So in that case, I would probably consider a person to use the YouTube videos, but start off on a scale which is a little more easier for the person. Always start off with the conditioning. You need to, if the person is starting off for the first time, has never done anything, he needs to start off with basics, like probably push-ups and free squats, and get himself actually in action prior to actually going on and picking up some heavy weights. Again, the mechanized equipments are a lot better than free weights for beginners, is because it puts you in a confined position and you can only do that much of a movement. So a mechanized equipment would be more advised for a beginner to start off with than free weights and heavy, dumbbells and plates and stuff, because everything is under control in the machine.
Yeah, that's when the right posture comes in.
It puts you in the right posture.
Yeah.
So
because there are many cases of people going ahead with deadlifts and then they have slip disc issues.
Very true.
Because their posture was never correct.
That's exactly why these machines were designed. Like for a deadlift, you have something known as a Smith machine, in where the bar moves within a rail. So you actually learn your form on these kind of machines, rather than just jumping into free weights and starting off doing things. Especially if you don't have a trainer.
Right.
If you've got a trainer, well and good. You've set yourself out right. But if you don't have a trainer, then you're ideally starting off on mechanized equipment, which will actually put you in the right form and start you gradually from there on.
Right. Now that you mentioned, not everyone has access to trainers. In fact, there are many people who do not even have the financial support, the financial background to incorporate gymming or to be able to pay those high expensive gym fees. It's not 5 rupees anymore.
It isn't.
So what would you recommend for them?
Well, one way, try finding out a 5 rupee gym too. Well, again, now say a person has a hard time investing in a gym. You could probably start off with free weights, free motion exercises like push-ups and squats, pull-ups. These exercises will not only target one muscle, but give you an entire group of muscle groups on at one time, like a push-up for that matter, and a pull-up. Even free squats can help you in this way. It basically start off with motion, with a motion that you can handle at home. I can't say that these are the best exercises, because it has its own limitations.
Right.
You can only do that many of something and see that much of an improvement in yourself. At one point of time, you would have to, if you want to see something more than that, you would definitely need to go down to a gym and train yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people going to gym, and rather than trying to incorporate it as a lifestyle, they are more into trying to become of a certain body type. They do it for a certain period of time, and then they're back to square one. What is your take on this? Why is it that people do this, and how should they get out of this loop?
People who go down to the gym and
For a certain period of time, they have their motivation. They are pretty motivated, maybe after watching a movie or so, and then 3 months down the line, they lose that interest. They lose the focus.
It's the drive. Now, as I said in the beginning of when we started, you need to go down to the gym. You need to build it. You need to enjoy what you do.
Right.
Okay. If you don't have the drive that's getting you to the gym, you will definitely have a hard time sustaining it. But at the end of it, if for individuals who start off and stop, the only thing I can say is take it easy. Don't try pushing yourself, beyond your limits, and then finding yourself, pushing yourself more, and then having a hard time consistently, sticking to those to the level that you've set yourself to. Start off easy, start off gradually, and keep progressing. Rome was not built in a day.
Correct.
So you've got to, consider the fact that, you got to start off slow, gradually, and be consistent.
Right.
You definitely don't need to work out 6 days a week. Keep it on a 4-day schedule, and you keep the enthusiasm and the drive running for a lot longer.
Right.
Rather than have, the candle burning up on full flame and then burn out faster.
Yeah, it's a process.
It's a process, and at the same time, you need to enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah. The crux of it is we have to incorporate it into our lifestyle.
You need to incorporate, very right.
Rather than looking at something external and then just...
Absolutely.
Now, there are a lot of questions that have been arising at the gym, because there are many fatality cases wherein there are people getting stroke in the gym, or maybe after a workout they reach home and then they get a stroke. So what is your take on this? Because many people are questioning the gym as a whole.
True. Yes. It all depends on what is the situation. Most of the times what happens is these as we mentioned earlier, a lot of these people are highly stressed people. They've already got a really hectic day, and they've pushed themselves to the limits, and at the same time, after they've finished their entire schedule, they've got the workout. Many of them don't have an option, but they have to work out after a tiring day. But in that case, again, if the person actually listens to the body, listen to your body, because many times your body is telling you that it needs a break, and it's not, you don't need to push yourself, and that's the time when you actually need to take a break. It's pretty simple. The body is always constantly telling you what it needs to do at a given time. You got to understand your body. Of course, it takes a little while for you to come over understanding your body, but the most simple way of putting it down to is listen to your body.
Right.
You definitely don't need to push yourself every day to the gym if you're feeling low, and you live to see another day for that matter.
We shouldn't overwork ourselves.
Shouldn't overwork out at all.
Now, before we sign off, what is one message that you would like to give to our viewers, especially the youth, because the youth is someone that gets inspired and is motivated to go to the gym, but it's not about lifestyle, it's mostly about looking a certain way.
So I would like to tell them that stay motivated, stay driven more above all, and take each day as it comes.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us here. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you found the video informative, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also hit the bell icon to keep up with regular updates.